right, go.
That's good. When you record, longest run, 4.83. I did, whew, so it's 32 hours, so that's a good thing on the rookie. I did average 10:21 pace, 4.8 miles, almost 600 calories. It's not bad. Yeah, the last little bit was hard, and felt a little kidney discomfort towards the end. I don't know if it was like drinking water for the first time on a run. It was just weird. So that was good. Thank you.
Killed it.
Yeah.
Hey everyone, welcome to Quarantine Vlog episode 6. I am back with Ricky, and we wanted to update you guys on quarantine and how his running's been going because he's doing our base building guide. He's doing a great job. But some other updates that we have. I got an elliptigo. I'm super excited about it. I'm not ready to go back to the gym still, so I was looking for another cross-training option to just kind of mix things up. I got it last week and I took it out for a spin in a parking lot, but I didn't have a helmet, so that was a whole nother thing. Finally got one, this nice specialized helmet. So finally took it out for a real ride this morning, and it was really fun and really hard, so I have a lot of work to do to get better at that. But I'm definitely planning to do like a full review of the elliptigo and the helmet and everything, so that's kind of the update for me. And now let's talk about you and all your running progress.
What are we going to talk about?
We're on week 4 of the base building guide. You just finished a 50-minute run yesterday.
I did.
And I have to say, every single week that Ricky finishes his runs, I'm just so surprised with his progress because I never thought that I'd see him running this far or honestly like doing as well as you're doing. And this week was actually a pretty big week for you because you accomplished several things in all the runs that you did. Let's talk about those. You got a 5K PR and mile PR, and so tell us.
There's a lot of firsts this week. Monday's run we did in the afternoon, and there was like this cool breeze, and I ended up running a 5K in essentially 30 minutes. My watch was not working, thanks Carmen.
Garmin outage 2020 to add to how amazing this year has been.
But your watch was working, and we ran the same exact run. So it was about a 30-minute 5K, which is a PR, which is pretty awesome. Went out on Wednesday, did another 5K. It was a little bit slower. It was a lot more humid. It was like a 30:18. So, you know, it just proves to me that I'm there. Saturday's run was a 50-minute run, continuous. First time running 50 minutes continuously. We ran 4.8 miles. It was something like a 10:18 pace. First time I ran that long, and it's pretty cool. You know, the more I think about it, the more kind of outlandish running 4.8 miles used to be to me. It still kind of is. It seems weird that I can do that. But what's great is, you know, here we are 2.5 months later since I started running, and I can run almost 5 miles. I think by next week's run, which is 55 minutes on Saturday, I hope to get to 5 miles straight. And, you know, I'm just excited about like the progress. I feel really strong. You know, I will say it again, I have no pain. And that's like really a first for me when it comes to running. Like I've never felt this good about running ever. You know, I used to like go out on runs, my heart would race and I would just want to stop and walk, right? And I can like talk myself through that when I feel like my heart's kind of increasing. I know to slow my pace down a little bit, control my breathing, and it's just it's been a cool 2.5 months just kind of progressing like that.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting things, like this is obviously probably a hard season to pick up running because it is so hot, and so one of the things that we have been working on is hydrating during those longer runs, especially because it's probably going to get even hotter this month. And how has hydrating during your runs been?
It's been interesting. It's not like I like the feeling of having the water like kind of hang out in my mouth for a little bit, but I realize that messes, and you pointed out to me that messes up your breathing. And so I've been working on like just kind of taking smaller sips so that I can continue to breathe as I'm running, but also just kind of making sure that you don't drink too much water. I mean, on this last run, I didn't feel like I drank too much water, but I did feel like some weird like kidney discomfort. And maybe it's just a part of like first time really like exercising like that and still running and not stopping.
Yeah.
Um,
It does get, I mean, part of fueling and hydrating during a run is getting your body used to that. And so that can take some time. So the next few or several long runs might be uncomfortable just because your body is getting used to processing that stuff. But I think next time we talked about bringing out an electrolyte drink, because we did only bring water.
mm-hmm.
And because it is so humid, I think we need to make sure that you're getting in some electrolytes during those. So that'll be one thing. And then eventually, once your runs get even longer, we'll have to actually fuel during them, which will also be really interesting and probably uncomfortable. But do you feel like the progress of the guide is going well? Like it's not overwhelming, or do you feel like it's going too slow? I think one of the things about being a new runner too is, especially because you see progress, right? Like you've already gotten a 5K PR, which is really cool. And I think part of it is kind of knowing that progress is kind of slow as you get into running and kind of taking it slower. But do you feel like the guide is going at a good pace for you?
Yeah, no, I think like the transition from the intro guide to the base building guide, like it picks up where the other one left off. So I never felt like it was too challenging or like it jumped up too quickly. I guess I'll let you know on like the next video maybe, because the end of next week is the halfway mark of the base building guide, and I peeked ahead, and I know that there's like a big jump in the next week or so. I'll let you know if that jump was too big, but so far the progression has been like right on pace. So I feel like where sometimes I kind of don't stick to the guide is on the strength portion. You know, sometimes after these like really long runs and you have like some strength work to do, for me, sometimes I'm a little too exhausted, and so I just skip it. And I know that I'm not supposed to, but sometimes I do, and I feel like that's part of like making sure that I stay healthy. I'm not overdoing it. So that's the only parts that like I prioritize the running. And I definitely do all the warm-ups. But the strength stuff is, I think as I really build the base and I get more miles under me, maybe I will stick more to that the more I build. But outside of that, I think.
Yeah. And I think I will add to this because I do, running and experiencing this with Ricky has really brought back, because this was me like 11 years ago trying to build up my mileage, and remembering a 50-minute or an hour-long run would leave me toasted for the rest of the day. And it's because your body is not used to doing this. And so it takes a lot of time for your body to adapt to what you're asking it to do. And running is a big stress. So it's really important to, I think, manage the strength stuff. And I think part of it for you, it's also his busy season at work, which is mentally exhausting. So adding exercise on top of that can also be really exhausting. And I think maybe splitting up the strength and doing it either earlier in the day, if it's one of the stability workouts, or even the day after your run, so that you aren't putting all of that stress onto one day, would probably be helpful. So that's where there's flexibility in some of those things, and a lot of it is figuring out what works for your body, because not everybody's going to respond to it the same. So keeping that stuff in mind. Luckily, you haven't had any pain issues come up so far. That would be like a signal to take a step back and do something different, or figure out what kind of is going wrong.
Yeah, I think one of the things that we didn't talk about was my attempt at getting a second pair of shoes, and how like I started running with the Brooks. I used the Adrenaline GTS 20s, and that's what I started with for the intro running guide, and those shoes have been great. And you helped me choose them based on the drop and everything else. And then I went out and I tried to just buy a different pair that I kind of liked, and that pair didn't end up working out for me. I mean, those shoes actually caused pain in my feet and my calves, and I get the drop was different, and then the whole shoe was different. But I returned those shoes because it made the running harder, and that's where like gear kind of matters a little bit. So I bought a second pair of GTS 20s, and I'm just kind of rotating those now. And we're back on track. It feels good.
And you're feeling good, yeah. So something else to keep in mind is kind of when pains do come up is thinking about what you've changed in your routine or anything like that. So if you maybe have skipped the strength, it could be that. But if you've added in something new to what you're running in, that could also be it, which usually is the shoes. So if you've switched up your shoes and you're not feeling good on your runs anymore, your feet hurt or something else in your legs is bothering you, your hips, your knees, look at your shoes and see if that's the problem, because that usually is the answer. So I think that's it for now. So Ricky's doing really good. I think this month might get even harder just because of how hot it is, but he's gonna power through. I'm gonna do it with him and it's gonna be fun, and then let you guys know about my elliptical. So anyways, thanks for watching. Make sure you guys are subscribed for more videos, and we'll see you next time.